Hey everybody, welcome to Crack Pack Tuesday number 171 on the Leek. I'm John as always, and we've got Amara here on a pack of guilds of Ravnica that we're going to crack, and we're going to see what's in it. We're going to see what we would take pack one, pick one if this was a draft. This is a sponsored Crack a Pack. If you go to patreon.com/themanaleak and sign up at the $5 level or above, you get entered each week to win all of the cards in the pack, or some of them or none of them. It's up to you. You might not want the garbage rare and the garbage commons and the garbage uncommon that we sometimes open, or maybe you want the foil Ravnica that we opened a few weeks ago. This week's Crack a Pack is going to Chris P. So let's see what's in it and see what we would take pack one, pick one if this was a draft. Up first, we have Hunted Witness. Hunted Witness is a single white mana for a creature human. It's a 1/1. When Hunted Witness dies, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Bleh, don't like it. Don't like it at all. It's a 1/1. It replaces itself with a better creature, but it's still just super not worth it. There's a billion other cards I'd prefer to play in the Boros deck or in the Selesnya deck. This is because I ran out of options, basically. Nowhere near a first pick. Second card, and we're already at a first pick. Unexplained Disappearance is 1 and a blue for an instant. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Surveil 1. This is super good. It's bounce, which I love. It's relatively cheap. It's instant speed, which it needs to be good. And it surveils 1. Oh, this card is super, super, super good. I had this card pegged as the card that I would draft the most in the set. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. The bots on Arena drafted heavily. People on MTGO drafted heavily. People at my shop drafted heavily. So I have very few copies of this card, but it's certainly first pick. It's so, so good. Up next is Cosmotronic Wave. Cosmotronic Wave is 3 and a red for a sorcery. Cosmotronic Wave deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Creatures your opponents control can't block this turn. Absolute finisher in Boros. It can kill off 1/1s, but of course Hunted Witness would leave behind a 1/1 that lives after this, but blah, blah, blah. Yeah, every Boros deck wants one of these, and some Izzet decks want one of these as well. It's a very good role player card, but it's just a role player card. You're picking this mid deck or mid pack at absolute best, so don't even think about that. Pack one, pick one. Crushing Canopy is up next. 2 and a green for an instant. Choose one. Destroy target creature with flying, or destroy target enchantment, not artifact. I always think this is naturalize, and it's not. It is just going to hit an enchantment. But luckily, there's Luminous Bonds and Conclave Tribunals and etc. to hit. Crushing Canopy is just a super good sideboard card. If you're in green and there's not much else in the pack, you are super happy to grab one of these. I don't think there's a reason to main deck them, however. Up next is Golgari Locket. Golgari Locket is 3 generic mana for an artifact. Tap it to add green or black to your mana pool. Pay Golgari, 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 Golgari. So that's black, 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 green, 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 or some combination thereof. Tap it, sack it to draw 2 cards. Lockets are bad. Lockets are bad. I expected Lockets to be relatively bad, but they are just flat out bad. You don't have time. You can't spend your turn 3 to play this just to get an extra point of mana. There's basically nothing that you're trying to ramp to. They're really bad fixing. Sure, drawing 2 cards later in the game is fun and good, but boy, these Lockets are bad, and luckily people have started to realize that. I have definitely seen them going last pick, and that's about where they deserve to go. Don't play Lockets. They're not good. Up next is Maniacal Rage. Maniacal Rage is 1 and a red for a enchantment aura. It's enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +2/+2 and can't block. This is an all-star in Boros, especially on Arena, where playing dumb auras on dumb creatures is kind of a go-to strategy, just because best of 1, you'll win a bunch just randomly because your opponent can't look at the creature and 2-for-1 you. But, you know, it's not a card I'd go out of my way to play. I don't really like it in Izzet at all. But in Boros, you'll sometimes just cheese out some wins with this, and that's sometimes just all you need. Throwing this on a Healer's Hawk or any sort of flyer can just get you there. It's a fine card, but it's very low on the totem pole of picking and playing. Up next is Hired Poisoner. Hired Poisoner is a single black mana for a creature human assassin. It's a 1/1 with Death Touch. It's great. It's fantastic. It's Typhoid Rats. 1/1s for 1 with Death Touch are awesome creatures. I've always loved them. Super, super good. Definitely can hang out in the picture right now with Unexplained Disappearance. We'll see if we get some more powerful cards. But right now, this is fighting for first pick. Up next is Vernati Shieldmate. Vernati Shieldmate is 1 and a Selesnya, a green or a white, creature, human, soldier. It's a 2/2 with vigilance. It's a bear with an upside. Not much of an upside, but a little bit of an upside. Obviously works with Convoke pretty decently. It's just a fine 22nd, 23rd card. Nowhere near a first pick. Up next is Hypothesizzle. Hypothesizzle is 3 blue red for an instant. Not destroy anything. Draw 2 cards. Then you may discard a non-land card. When you do, Hypothesizzle deals 4 damage to target creature. I sit to the right of these cards, so they're actually perpendicular to me, so I sometimes can't read them perfectly. Hypothesizzle is great. It's super good. It's instant speed. It's removal. It's card draw. Rarely you do whiff, and that really sucks when this is the last card in your hand and you draw 2 lands and you can't even use the removal. But it's super good. It's happy to have as many of these as you can. It's definitely splashable if need be. Certainly can be in the first pick discussion with these cards here. And Boros Challenger will be in the discussion as well. So much so that I think we can actually cut Hired Poisoner and Unexplained Disappearance as our choices right now. Boros Challenger is red-white for a 2/3 creature human soldier. It's got Mentor, and you can pay 2 red-white to give it +1/+1 until end of turn. Also, a quick look here. Looks as though we have 9 commons, meaning a foil's coming up. Yeah, this card's great. It's a 2/3, which attacks pretty well, especially being a 2/2 for 2/3, and it mentors your 1/1s, and then with a little bit more extra mana, it mentors your 2/2s and above. Super good card, super solid card. Boros would love these, would love multiple copies of these. Definitely a first pick potential here. Discovery Dispersal is up next. I've been playing this in my my Izzet Phoenix deck. Discovery is 1 and a Dimir, a blue or a black for a sorcery. Surveil 2 and then draw a card. Cool little a bit of bonus there. Unfortunately, you cannot cast this at instant speed, which would make it far, far, far better. But it's still fine. It's still totally fine. It's a good little way of surveilling and stacking your deck or throwing stuff into the graveyard that you don't want. You get a card to replace itself. It's fine. Dispersal, 3 blue black for an instant. Each opponent returns a non-land permanent they control with the highest converted mana cost among permanents they control to its owner's hand, then discards a card. I don't like Dispersal nearly as much. Untargeted bounce is not great. It will typically pick their biggest threat, because typically their biggest threat is going to be the one with the most CMC, but it can whiff sometimes, and you know, if they don't have, or if they do have cards in their hand and they just have to discard a land or something, it's good. So I'm not as huge a fan of Dispersal, but I do like Discovery, and if the situation presents itself, then Dispersal is going to be fine. So I think this card's fine. I don't think it competes with Boros Challenger at all, and I don't really think it competes with Hypothesizzle, so I'm not going to consider Discovery Dispersal as an option for first pick here. Our final uncommon is City Watch Sphinx. City Watch Sphinx is 5 and a blue for a creature Sphinx. It's a 5/4 with flying, and when it dies, Surveil 2. Fine card, good top end for Dimir, good top end for Izzet. Unfortunately, everybody seems to find a way to answer this where you don't surveil. They exile it, or they throw luminous bonds on it, or they capture sphere it, or in some way they don't kill it, and that's a pain. But it's still a very good card. I would certainly consider first picking it in some packs. I think Boros Challenger is just better. Hypothesizzle might be better than it, but I don't think City Watch Sphinx is going to be in the discussion here. Our mythic rare is Thousand Year Storm. Thousand Year Storm is 4 blue red for an enchantment at mythic. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. This is fun. I've been playing a standard deck with this in it, and the standard deck is super fun on Arena. In Limited, I tried this once, and I definitely didn't build the deck for it. The deck worked a lot better as a Drowned Secrets deck, but I didn't quite have enough things to copy with it. It's pretty hard to get a large number of radical ideas, and I guess Shock is in the set. It's hard to get super cheap spells that actually do really good stuff when they get copied. So I think I'm out on Thousand Year Storm. I was okay-ish with it in the set review, and then I was briefly like, you know what, I think this actually could be really good in a deck, and now I think I'm back to it just not being that great in Limited, so I don't think it's going to be in the discussion here. Our foil is a good one. And we got a Guildgate and a token. Our foil is a foil statue, status and statue. Status is a single Golgari mana at instant speed. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains death touch till end of turn. Statue is 2 green black for an instant. Destroy target artifact, in creature, or enchantment. Solid bit of removal there. Definitely could consider this a first pick. It's unconditional removal on the right half, but it's Golgari, which is obviously not super where you want to be. You want to be in Dimir, then you want to be in Boros, then I think you want to be in Izzet, then I think you want to be in Golgari. So, you know, I feel like in many sets, this would be an absolute first pick, and probably just be the first pick here. In this format, with as weak as green is, I don't think we're going to discuss it. So really, I think it comes down to Boros Challenger or Hypothesizel, and I think Boros Challenger is just better enough that that's going to be my first pick here. So Boros Challenger, my first pick. Sorry for hitting the mic there. Let me know what you would have taken. Would you have taken the foil statue? Would you have taken Hypothesizel? City Watch Sphinx could have been in that discussion. Maybe you want to go deep on Thousand Year Storm, and that's probably it. Maybe you could even make a case for Discovery Dispersal, but I don't think so. So let me know what you would have taken in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at @TheManaLeek. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeek, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeek, and Patreon.com/TheManaLeek. If you like the content, click that thumbs up button. Click subscribe if you want to see more. And if you do have questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.